Hey all, if you were with me last week on my video blog, you know that I started a 4-week set on looking at particular Christmas movies that I enjoy, that you may or may not enjoy, but ones I think are great for a variety of reasons. And last week, of course, I looked at A Christmas Carol and actually watched it last week, enjoyed it thoroughly. This week, I want to look at a movie, and you might debate this, whether it's actually a movie, The Grinch. The original Grinch, written in 1957 by Dr. Seuss, when he was actually 53 years old, the same age I am today, was not adapted to a animated short movie for TV till 1966, almost 10 years later. But it became very popular and very synonymous with Christmas. In fact, the whole term Grinch, which came out of that, has become synonymous. It's in our lexicon as someone who's a grumpy sourpuss and doesn't want to enjoy anything. Now, the popularity of the book and of the animated cartoon led to it being turned into movies. So in 2000, of course, the most famous, or at least this point, for a live-action movie was with Jim Carrey. The role of the Grinch, actually, ironically, in that movie was also read for by Jack Nicholson and Eddie Murphy before they settled on Jim Carrey. And then, of course, since then, it's been made into things. There was a 2018 version using Benedict Cumberbatch as the voice of the Grinch. There have been Broadway musicals, did a short run in 2006 with the Grinch. But in the end, it is the cartoon that, for me, holds the most, that I like the most. Some interesting facts about it. The voice of the Grinch is Boris Karloff, who actually is known as one of the masters of horror. He actually voiced Frankenstein, The Mummy, all kinds of horror movies. And the song was actually not sung by Boris Karloff, but by the same guy who voiced Tony the Tiger for over 50 years for Frosted Flakes. Interesting. The cartoon actually cost a lot of money, about $200,000 back in 1966, which is like, or $300,000, which is like $2.2 million now, which is an unbelievable amount at the time for a 26-minute animated cartoon. Dr. Seuss modeled the character of the Grinch after himself. He looked at himself in the mirror a day after Christmas and thought, I'm looking at the Grinch in the mirror, and I want to write something and maybe discover something more about Christmas, something that he wanted to rediscover. So he actually wrote the story just in a couple of weeks, although he had trouble with the ending of it, which took him a significant amount of time. The story itself of the Grinch who wanted to steal Christmas from Whoville and keep it from coming with its famous songs and everything else is actually written because of the excesses of Christmas. Dr. Seuss was disappointed with the consumerism, the focus on gift giving rather than the true meaning of Christmas. And so in the story, of course, just like in A Christmas Carol, the main character, the Grinch, has some type of epiphany and awakening as he steals all the toys and all the decorations and all the food, and the Who's still are able to gather with each other and sing around the town square. And he realized that Christmas was not in all the stuff, but in relationships. Maybe that's why this resonates with me so much. I don't know about you, but if you think back over all your Christmases that you've had on this earth and try to remember how many of the gifts you got at Christmas, do you realize you'll be able to remember very, very few of them? There might be a couple that stick out, but for the most part, those things are long dead and gone. But what you do remember are the ways you celebrated, the relationships you had, the events that you went to, the gatherings where you were together, and of course, for those that follow Jesus, remembering in a very special way the birth of our Savior. And so when you watch The Grinch this year and listen to the songs and enjoy the animation, may it remind you that, in fact, while all that other stuff wrapped around Christmas is fun, it's not really the reason we celebrate, which we all know. But it's a good reminder at the best of times. Till next time, and next week, we'll look at another Christmas movie.